Diego Pavia should not be an NFL draft pick. He's not an NFL player. If you're a team that has a good GM, Pavia shouldn't even make it on their board. In getting to know executives in the NFL over the last 5 or 6 years, the draft is something that is always fascinating to me. So I ask so much about the behind the scenes of the draft. How do you cut down your board? How many names are on that board? How many guys are just full out written off? And you'd be surprised how detailed these reports are when they specifically come to injuries. How many noteworthy names are written off by your favorite team because of what their doctors, what their criteria is in terms of risk for injury and in some cases character. Diego Pavia is the definition of a character write-off. Let's go down memory lane, shall we? While at New Mexico State, he urinated on the midfield logo inside New Mexico's indoor facility, their greatest rival. Last offseason, you might remember he won a court case that allowed for him to get another year of eligibility. He told the Bussin' with the Boys guys he ignored calls from Big Ten schools, didn't even take them about transferring. His quote, "You want to play with the best. You don't want to play with the Big Ten. You ignore those calls," close quote. In Tuscaloosa last October, he confronted an Alabama fan by grabbing his crotch and yelling, "I do what I effing want." But all of that pales in comparison to the Heisman ceremony, where he went to a nightclub afterwards when Fernando Mendoza won, posed next to a sign reading F Indiana with his middle finger up. He also posted on social media, "F the voters," clearly not knowing anything, including that the voters include former Heisman winners. With all of that as the backdrop, let's hear how he handled character concern questions at his combine availability. Because, hey, if he was apologetic, if he was sincere, if he was eloquent, perhaps all those things in the past you can move on from. He was none of those things. Here he was on the perception that surrounds him.
One thing about me is I don't care what people think about me. I think that just comes from, God has a plan for me regardless. But the way the media is they're supposed to put out, clickbait and things like that. That's how people get views and that's how people make money. I understand that. And so, people will twist a story and try to put out bad media to get clicks, good media to get clicks. That's just what today's world that we live in. So I'm just adjusting to the new world.
To quote the billionaire owner of Twitter/X, "You are the media now." The media spinning things with clickbait, you're the one that posted F all the voters. That wasn't taken secondhand. That wasn't something, it was whispered and then reported and then anonymous. Source was you. And by the way, to all athletes out there, stop saying the expression, "I don't care what anybody thinks." I hope you care what your coach thinks. I hope you care what your GM thinks. I hope you care what the owner thinks. I hope you care what your mom thinks. I hope you care what your spouse thinks. I hope you have friends in your life where you value what they say. It's not the flex you think it is when you say the expression, "I don't care what nobody thinks." Kind of, Diego Pavia. We can tell. And it isn't good. Oh, it gets better, though. Here we go. And by better, I mean worse. When he was asked where his confidence comes from.
I'm not too sure how to answer that. I feel like there's a lot out there, but I just want everyone to know, what's true about me is I'm humble and I get my confidence from my process. And if you saw how much I put into this, you would see where I get my confidence from.
It's an Andy Samberg clip at this point, an Andy Samberg bit, like a digital short. You know who the most humble people are? The ones that stand in front of everybody, in front of microphones and cameras, and tell us how humble they are. It's the roots of humility. Excellent stuff. And by the way, this is all character write-off. That doesn't even address the football conference. D-Day, you remember what he was listed at Vanderbilt last year?
He said 6 feet. I didn't see no 6 feet.
And it was so obvious he wasn't 6 feet because he was standing next to Jeremiah Love, Fernando Mendoza, and the other finalist whose name slips me at the Heisman ceremony. And he looked like a little small child. That's how he looked. He was listed at 6 feet tall, despite the fact that when he was measured at the Senior Bowl, under 5'10". Under 5'10" at the Senior Bowl, listed at 6 foot at Vandy. Somewhere every woman on Tinder is nodding, understanding the experience. We haven't seen a modern NFL quarterback stand under 5'10". Bryce Young, Kyler Murray, 5'10". Doug Flutie, 5'10". They're taller than this. So you'd have to go back to the late 50s, early 60s, to the 5'7" Eddie LeBaron days, maybe even to the 30s with the Davey O'Brien days to find the last time a quarterback as short, or to find a quarterback shorter than Diego Pavia playing in the NFL. And by the way, stop with the comparisons to Johnny Manziel. Stop with that. Manziel was a legit 6 feet. Manziel won the Heisman Trophy. Manziel was a first-round draft pick. Diego Pavia might not get drafted. Manziel beat Nick Saban in Tuscaloosa, not Kalen DeBoer in Nashville. There's a difference. If you want to know what the best comp is for Diego Pavia, it's actually the best SEC comp we can give you. It's not Johnny Manziel. It's not even in football. You remember Ole Miss basketball player Marshall Henderson, D-Day? Oh, yeah. Crazy highlights. Fun wins for a non-traditional program. But the things that we remember Marshall Henderson for, wild antics. Wild. And that's what Diego Pavia ultimately is going to be remembered for.